The views expressed on the Convo Lounge do not reflect the views of our current employers or our future employers.
Welcome to the Convo Lounge with your hosts, Char Rochelle, Amir Anthony, Antonio Crow, and we are joined by Tiffany Barnes and Les James of Barnes and James Realty. Welcome to the Convo Lounge.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on? All right.
So I wanted to start the conversation out with just asking you all, how did you get into real estate?
Well, the way I got into real estate was completely by accident. I had my son, my oldest son, at the age of 19. And so after I had him, I was working at Valley Total Fitness as the manager of the retail part. So after I had him, I felt like I need to make more money. So I just started applying for jobs everywhere. And a real estate company called me. And when he interviewed me, he was like, before I left, he said, I don't know what it is about you. You have nothing on your resume. I was 20 years old at that time. And he's like, but I'm gonna hire you. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I got hired as a receptionist. And then maybe about a few months later, I was actually promoted to the office manager. So I started running the office. Then I got my real estate license. Then I got my notary license. And then a year after, I opened an escrow company. So just being in real estate and helping people and just watching that, because I did it from Carson, so in the Carson area, and just watching the people purchase homes, because I didn't know. I didn't live, in a home. I lived in an apartment all my life at that time. So just watching these people purchase homes, it was something that I just really wanted to continue with. So I've been doing it now 18 years and I just continuously love it.
My story is definitely different. I was actually working for Boeing in their classified security, and I had my own office. I would go on vacations every year, and I'd look forward to these vacations and put them up on my screen on my computer, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go on vacation. One year I went on vacation and with all the build up and lead up to it, I swear I was back in a blink of an eye. And that was in September. By December, those walls had closed in on me, and I was like, you know what? I have to get out of here. I had no plan, no nothing. Had money saved up. I knew if anything else failed, I could always go back to that industry. And when I quit, my boss cried. She cried because I was leaving, and she cried because she knew that being in that office and doing that wasn't for me. And then one of the people who I worked with, he found out I was leaving. He was like, probably about 2 weeks after I left, he was like, hey, my cousin is part of this real estate company and they're hosting classes. And literally I quit, let's say the first week in January. By March, I was taking my test, and by May, I had my license. And it's been 16 years now.
Nice.
Wow. That's good for you, honoring your inner spirit and going after what you really want. That's a testament in and of itself.
Definitely.
That's dope. So real estate, you guys are like making dreams come true for a lot of people. I know that I come from a family of notorious owners, owners and renters. And part of the reason why I wanted to have the conversation with you all is because real estate is one way for people of color, that's what's near and dear to my heart, to build wealth. So I currently rent, but can you walk us and the listeners through like what are some of the benefits of renting versus owning property?
Okay. Honestly, with renting, you're paying in my opinion, and reality is you're basically making someone else rich. You are paying someone else's mortgage because in reality, they're making some income off of you. When you own your own property, you're investing in yourself. You have the option to do what you want to do to your home. If you're renting, you can't do what you want to do to your home. You can't paint the wall. Sometimes you can't even put holes in the wall, so you're able to make your home the way you want to make it. And then, you know, you're not worried about, you know, am I going to be, you know, kicked out? And, you know, you don't know when you're going to be kicked out. So when you own a home, you know, you're paying a mortgage and you're investing in yourself. And then I always say, you know, use your first property as your investment property. And then what you do is you refinance it later on, pull money out and buy some more property, and then rent your other home out. So you have income coming in. So I feel that renting a home, there's not that much benefit in it, opposed to you owning a home, and there's way more benefits to you and investing in yourself and, you know, owning a home.
I mean, just thinking as a renter, you really have no control. And as a renter, like I've run across this with several clients where they call me and they're like, Les, we need to find a house now because the owner of our house is selling it and the buyers want to move into the property. You don't know when that rug is going to be pulled from underneath you. So that's one of the benefits of having your home. Another thing, you think about the benefits that you have. We all hate April 15th because we have to file those taxes. Well, when you own a home and you have a mortgage, there's tax benefits. You get more money back because part of that interest that you pay is a tax write-off. And that's another benefit that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I write my interest off. I enjoy that.
You have to. You have to do it because I tell you, other people, they know the tricks of the game and they don't want to tell us. So it's up to us to teach them, to teach our people in our community.
That's what's up. I didn't even know about, I knew the tax breaks, but I didn't know it was because you can write your interest off. So that's new to me.
And then you think about people who have a business from home, like it seems like you guys are doing your podcast from home. Mm-hmm. You can literally write off the fact that you have a home office and how much square footage in your office it takes. And you can write that off also.
It's true.
That's definitely good to know.
So
I do run a business out of my home.
So the question I have for you, Les and Tiffany, thanks again for joining us today. When it comes to home ownership with young Black millennials, what are some of the things that should be taught or educated to those that are looking to buy homes? Because a lot of us are college graduates. Student loan debt is a big issue within the Black community, along with other things. But what education or what should be the starter point for them if they're looking for home ownership?
I would say, honestly, the first step is don't be scared. Everyone is scared to check to see if they even qualify. Right. And it's not necessarily just always checking to see if you qualify. It's checking to see where you are, so you are prepared for the future. So what most young people do, they wait until they think they're ready. And then in reality, they have to get prepared. It's years later and they need to get prepared. They need to find more income. So I always say, when you get to that point, you know, that you're like, okay, I want to be a homeowner in the future, speak to a lender, speak to a realtor, and find out where you are right now, so you are prepared in the future. So you know how much income you need to make. So you know where your credit scores need to be. So you know what debt you need to have. So I think that's the first step, is actually just getting started and speaking with someone and gaining knowledge as to, you know, the real estate industry.
That's right. A lot of people are so scared even just to find out. People are scared to find out their credit score. People are scared to talk to somebody about their finances, how much they make. And that, you know, we grew up as, in our community, we're secretive about everything we do. I've had family members and friends who didn't want to use me because they didn't want me knowing their finances and knowing their situations. But that's, wow. I'm here to help. You know, and a couple of them have in the later dates have told me that. At later dates come back and use me because they were like, hey, it's about you helping us. I don't care what your credit score is today, because your credit score today does not mean what your credit score will be in the future. And by talking to people, they will teach you how, like our lenders that we use, they will help you. They will guide you into getting your credit score up, whether it's paying off a bill, whether it's waiting until your car note is 10 months from being paid off, which allows you not to have to write that off. I mean, not to use that against you as far as your debt to income is. So it's really about having that confidence to go ahead and say, hey, let's try to do this and let's see where we are. Because there's no real point in waiting a year or two to talk to a lender. Right. Let's talk to the lender today. They will guide you through the process of getting you where you need to be.
So in the 90s, I guess it was a myth in the 90s and probably before that. If you had $10,000, that was a good down payment for a house. So here we are 2020, and I don't think $10,000 is helping with that down payment. Can you elaborate on what we need to put down nowadays?
$10,000 in Los Angeles County, $10,000 is not going to work for you. Right. For the most part, it's not going to work. Right now, most loans we do, especially for first-time home buyers, is about 3.5% down. So if you're looking, if you're looking at a home that's, let's say, $500,000, you're probably looking at about $16,000 and some change as far as your down payment comes. Now, there are programs out there that help with down payment assistance, but that's not the only cost you have when you purchase a house. A lot of people think, oh, I just need this 3.5% and that's it. What you don't think about is you have an appraisal that needs to be done, which runs between $500 to $700. You have an inspection that is very important to have, because you don't want to walk into a house that has a cracked foundation, needs a new roof, needs new electrical, and needs new plumbing. And a lot of times people can cover those things up, but you need an inspector to go on the roof, go under the house, check it out, make sure all the plugs work in the house and everything is wired correctly. So that's another cost, anywhere between $300 to $600. And on top of that, you have closing costs. Closing costs is almost another 2 to 3% of the purchase price, right? And people don't know that. They think that 3%, 3.5% is enough. Well, that closing cost, that includes the cost for the lender, that includes title, that includes all sorts of things that are all wrapped up into your escrow. Now, us as realtors, depending on the type of market, we try our best to get the sellers to pay for some of that, if not all of it. Right now, it's really difficult because houses on the market are staying on the market for about 10 to 15 days because these interest rates are so extremely low. It has brought so many buyers into the market. So it's a lot of costs that's in it, but we try to figure our way to work around it.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds a little intimidating, but with proper planning, it sounds very doable. Because I know, like, for me, I look at a $500,000 sticker price and I'm like, how, God, how? Especially like being a single woman having one income coming in, like that sounds overwhelming.
But what we tell a lot of people is it's getting your foot in the door is really important. A lot of people's first homes aren't their dream home. Right. Some people go out and they buy a condo for $350,000, which brings the price of everything down. And then in 3 to 5 years, 3 to 7 years, you turn around and you can either sell the property, take the equity that you have and go purchase your home. Because now you have $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to put down on a property. Or you can do, as Tiff spoke earlier, said, you can rent that home out, make money there, and then go buy another property. Because, 3 to 7 years, maybe you have another income. Maybe you've gotten another job, a promotion, anything that has boosted your income in, 5 to 7 years.
So when you talk about income, has stated income gone away?
No, stated income is definitely still around. It's stated income is good if you know how to use it. Back in 2007, when the market crashed, a lot of people were getting stated incomes because somebody was in either a lender or a realtor was just telling them, hey, you have a 700 FICO score. You can buy whatever you want. And then in 2 years, you can refinance fancy. Well, that wasn't the truth,
Right.
you know. And although stated income is still around, I mean, you can do no doc loans, but it has to make sense. The lenders are now making sure it makes sense. You can't work at McDonald's and get a $700,000 house.
Right.
If you say, I don't know, I'm a gym owner or I'm a consultant for an engineering firm and I want to go stated, then your interest rate will be higher, definitely much higher. But you would be able to do that.
Nice.
So we're 50 years plus maybe from the Fair Housing Act when it first started for Black Americans, and as we navigate and we're seeing the current economy and the way things have been going with number 45 in office. What can you say to a lot of Black folk that are looking to buy homes? Because I don't see a lot of us owning in California, and a lot of us are navigating back down to like the Midwest and down south for that piece of an American dream. So is there hope for Americans to live in certain neighborhoods because you see gentrification happening in all the neighborhoods that were quote unquote Black neighborhoods?
Well, I think honestly, what I have noticed being in real estate for 18 years is that unfortunately, our community doesn't work together. I see other races, they all come together to purchase one home and they help each other. What they do is they wait after a few years and then help purchase another home for one of the families to move out. They help with that and then they continue to do that every year. So I think what we need to do is start helping each other and coming together as a family and as a community and basically be able, to purchase homes in California.
Yeah. I think really a lot about the education. It's the education of the process of buying a home. It's the education to have that mindset. We're talking about a lot of money. It's the biggest purchase you'll ever make. So it's that mindset of, hey, this is my goal and I need this to make this much money to make it happen. So how am I going to get there? Well, your 9-to-5 job might not get you there, but you might have a side hustle. You might start yourself an LLC and make dinners, fish fries on Friday nights or on the weekends that bring in $1,000 a month. Something extra. They say seven streams of income. That's the way to go. So it's because a lot of 9-to-5s aren't going to get you a home in California. Good jobs. When I worked for Boeing, I couldn't have bought a house on that salary, and everybody said it was great. But I couldn't have done it comfortably. I couldn't have done it comfortably. Right. So it's all about, knowing, having that goal, having the mindset that I'm gonna get it no matter what. And I know people who have their job, they work second jobs. They work second jobs and then they buy the house and stop working. You have people that create their side hustles, whether it's cooking food, whether it's cleaning houses, they start businesses, everything because they have a goal in mind. If we have that goal as a people, as our community, if we set our goals to something and we are focused on it, then we'll make it happen.
So what I'm gathering here is that we stepped away from that over time. The generation before us, because I think about my parents and I think about my grandparents, the generation before us had a goal and then we kind of stepped away from it. And I kind of agree with what Tiffany shared, is that community building, because I look at the Latino community and the Asian community growing up in Cerritos. A lot of them that I grew up with, they own homes in Cerritos, as you guys know. Those are $500,000 plus homes in those areas. It was always fascinating to me how they could do that, but over time, the Black community kind of just washed away, and there's not that building, that connection.
In our community, we have certain things in our community that in some ways hinder us. Our community, when you turn 18, our parents want to kick us out the house, or we want to get our own place, right? And we look at that as a rite of passage, as we're now adults because we're living on our own. A lot of other communities don't do that. You stay at home, you finish school, you get your job, you save up money, now you leave home. And that sets you up in a whole different area, because you're not leaving home and you have a job and struggling to make rent and car notes and this, that, and the other. No, you have a basis, a foundation to go out and purchase a home. We also have, in other communities, their parents will help them with down payments.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that we don't always see. Most of the times we don't see.
Another thing too that I noticed is priorities. Priorities, going back to what you said with 18 years old, that freedom, okay, I can do whatever I want now. And then we find ourselves doing things where we're purchasing the wrong items, and we're getting, I can get credit. So let me buy this car. Let me catch up with everybody else is doing, especially now with this, the generation now, they're trying to catch up. They're seeing stuff that's on social media. So they're trying to live way beyond their means, and they don't look beyond. They're looking short term. They're like, all right, I got this and I got that. Yeah, you got this expensive vehicle. You got this luxury car, but do you own property? And it's like we're not, and we're being confused by what we see by celebrities that are living a lifestyle of luxury, and then we think that we can emulate that. So it's a lot, and it's damaging in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of brokenness in our community.
I look at it like this. I posted a picture probably a year or two ago, and it basically said, hey, if you have a goal, you can't do this. If you were to go out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, spend $100 to $150 a night going out, you're looking at $450 a week. You're looking at $1,800. You're looking at $1,800 for the month. You're looking at $21,000 for a year. So if you stayed home for a year on the weekends and didn't do that, you would have your down payment to your house. And believe me, spending $150 on a night is low. I know I personally spent way more than that.
Walk in the park.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
So that's part of that goal setting and having that mindset that, hey, I want a house. You know what? I'm gonna stay home and watch Netflix tonight.
Right. Is it feasible? Let me ask you this, Les. Is it feasible for Black men, single Black men, to own a home because of the things that the family, right? You think of family, you think of owning as a man. You want to own, you want to provide for your family. So, like, what would you say to young Black men who are listening? Like, what do you encourage them to focus on, who are looking to do so?
I would encourage it, because if you don't have a family today, but you eventually are thinking of having one, let's walk into that family, or walk into dating someone, or walk into, you never know, she might already have kids, or you might have a kid from a previous relationship, but you still want to set your family up for generations. You don't want to, if you have the ability to, you don't want to struggle when you get into it, because that's just more problems for your relationship to have. Right. So I always suggest you settle down, you make a goal, whether you know the woman or not. You settle down, you have goals for yourself. Hey, I want to buy a house by the time I'm 25, or by the time I'm 30, 35, whatever your goal is. And then you take that action plan. You sit down, you talk to a lender. Lender says, hey, in order to afford a house here, you need to make $4,000 a month to buy a house in this area. Well, now you know what that number is. Now you know, hey, I need $4,000 a month. That means that I'm gonna have to do something extra. If I only make $3,000 a month at my job, I need to do something extra. But it's all about that planning. And then if a lady comes into your life, I'm assuming you're not gonna get that close with somebody who that isn't on the same page as you. I would suggest all young men, if you have goals, make sure the woman you are dealing with is aligned with those goals.
Oh, that's a word.
Not, she is going to pull you down. She's going to knock you off your stride, and you're not going to reach your goal. Right. And if you're focused on that, then whoever you bring into that household has to be on it with you to reach it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that is very true what you're saying. And I just want to get to something that has been said I think in every response so far, but I think I want to like bring it home. Like saving money for African Americans, especially the youth, is not preached. We don't hear save your money. And I think that is part of the gap. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing we can go in and just see if we qualify, but we'll walk right back out because we don't qualify and we don't have any money to put in.
Right. Or we do qualify,
Yeah,
but then we get the home and foreclose on it because we don't have the money management skills that other ethnicities have.
Well, here's another thing too, though, and this is something that I had a conversation with a coworker. Financial literacy is not taught in our community like it should be. It's not taught in the public school system, and then the Black church, which is a cornerstone of the Black community, doesn't focus on financial literacy. They focus on taking your finances. I'm just going to put it out there, but I think we need to focus on financial literacy at a young age, whether because that's church is family, you know, and if they are focusing on that, that I think that we can benefit, you know, whether it's in California or thriving anywhere in America. I just go back to, you know, the generation before me and the generation before that. They were able to capitalize off a piece of the American pie because they were taught and they knew how to take advantage of something that we worked hard for, and Americans should have every right to do so.
I agree. Financial literacy is so important. And that's not even about purchasing a home. That's about living. That's about life. That's about being able to do what you want, but understand that you have bills, you have to live, you have to eat, you have to have food, you have to have shelter, you have to have clothing. Those are the basis of what you need to live and survive. But then you want to do stuff. You want to travel. You have to understand that there's your needs and then there's your wants. And sometimes you have to give up those wants in order to take care of those needs or in order to reach a goal.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that's been my problem with financial discipline is my wants they start to look like needs. My little Amazon wish list calls out to me,
Right.
and I answer.
I need to go to Cancun right now, but truthfully, it's a want.
I need a mental health break.
Definitely.
No, but you guys are right. So everything that we see going on in America today, do you guys foresee another recession happening? And I know you guys probably don't want to talk about it as realtors, but what does that look like in terms of
buyers and sellers market?
Well, right now, as far as real estate, it is definitely a seller's market. Mm-hmm. There is no inventory and there's an abundance of buyers, especially with these interest rates being so low. I mean, these are record lows, and we just heard Powell say that the Fed will keep the interest rates at close to zero through 2021. So, and the thing about that is, when the Fed starts pumping money in, stimulus checks and, everything they're doing in the PPP loans and everything like that, we're going to see something happen, right? We're going to see the price of gas go up. I believe personally, you'll see the price of gas go up. Your groceries are going to go up because the dollar, if you keep on printing money, it devalues our dollar, right? So we have a couple things coming up in real estate that will definitely let us know. Well, as you know now, there is some forbearances on these mortgages and income property, rental property. Some of the renters aren't paying their rent, and they cannot be evicted at this time until it's been extended until January 1st. So come January 1st, you're going to find a lot of people either they owe the back rent, and if you haven't been paying for the last 6 months, are you going to magically come up with 6 months worth of rent or more, or pay 150% of your rent to try to catch up for the last 6 months? Most likely not. If most people in those situations are scraping by. So now you're going to see a lot of people get evicted. On top of that, once a lot of people get evicted, you're gonna have the owners, they haven't paid mortgages either. Rather,
Right.
it's a little different because if you haven't paid your mortgage, it can get added on the back end. Doesn't really affect. So if you had 10 years left to pay on your house, now you have 12 years, and it doesn't really affect much on their end. But if now you have rental property or income property and you have renters that aren't paying, and if they aren't paying, now you have to pay. Now what's going to happen? Now some of these rental properties and even some people's primary homes, they will end up being defaults, short sales, foreclosures. So they're going to have to, the government figured out something to do for the last 6 months, but they're going to have to figure out another step to where we don't see 1,000 evictions, where we don't see, 1 million homes going to foreclosure because people haven't been paying rent. And that's how the owner pays their mortgage, by the renter paying their rent.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you one thing is as long as you see these interest rates where they are right now, you won't see too much of a decline in the prices of homes. Once you start seeing these interest rates start to rise, you're going to start seeing the prices start to dip some.
Wow.
Sheesh.
So this is another question or a topic that I wanted to bring up. Reverse mortgages. How do you guys feel about reverse mortgages?
Okay, so
I'm not a fan.
I'm personally not a fan of it, right? But in some cases, they're necessary, right? So let's say you have a married couple, right? And they bring in X amount of dollars, and then one of them passes away. Now your income in the house is less, right? Half or maybe even more than half less. So how are you going to keep up that payment on the house? There's no way to do it. Are you going to lose the house? No, you don't want to lose the house because that's where you're staying. That's where you live. It's been your home for X amount of years. We were going to pay this off. So at that point, you're like, what are we going to do? Do I sell the house and move to a smaller house? No, this is my home. I've been here for a long time. I don't want to move anywhere. And then you figure out what you can do. So reverse mortgage basically is you don't have to make a payment on your home. But what they're doing is they're adding that onto the back end of your loan. So if you owed $500,000 on the house, after the first year, you owe $520,000. After that second year, you owe $43,000. So it keeps adding up and adding up. Well, if I'm living in my home and I don't have the stress of paying it, then that's not a big deal, right? Who it matters to is the children whose parents are in that reverse mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. Because once that parent passes away and they leave it to the child, guess what? Now you have a house that is, now you have let's say a $750,000 mortgage on a house. What are you going to do at that point? That's where it turns that this is our family home that we can keep. And now, can I afford a $750,000 home? And if you can't, you have to sell it. And instead of setting yourself up where, they paid it off, instead of getting $750,000, now you're getting $50,000 or $60,000. Mm-hmm. But is it worth it? If my parent is able to live comfortably until they pass and not worry about it, then I'll take the stress on of that. Right. But it's something that you have to think about in the future. And that brings up another thing for me that our community has to really work on. When your grandmother passes or your grandfather passes, do not sell the house. Do not look at it as, some cases you might have to, because if there's 5 siblings and everybody wants their piece, then you might have to do that. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have to sell it, don't sell it. If you can, refinance it, buy whoever wants the money out, and save the house, keep it. Because property increased about 7% per year. Everything's cyclical, everything's cyclical, so it'll go up, it'll go down, but on average, if you just look, it's about 7% a year. Even with what happened in 2007, we're still at about 7% a year. And you don't understand how that helps build generation. Selling the first generation that had a house. You're just getting rid of it. And that, we can't do that.
When you said what you just said, I thought about my late grandmother, and that really had a tremendous effect on our family when that took place. She had a reverse mortgage. So that really took me home right there. So I appreciate you, breaking that down and why there's, a lot of negatives on how that can be affected. Because you're leaving a legacy behind when you can keep that ownership going and pass that along. So thank you for breaking that down for us.
Of course, no problem. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So going back to owning a home in California, which can seemingly be impossible for some. And I know we spoke a little bit about possibly starting off with a condo or a townhouse over a single family home or your dream home, because God knows I cannot afford a beach house in Newport yet.
One more
Yeah.
one thing to the condo or townhouse. Think about units. Think about buying a $600,000 duplex where you have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath and a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on the other side, where you can rent that 2-in-1 out for $2,000, and now that's $2,000 off of your mortgage. So that's really the way a lot of people are getting in houses now. And then you turn around in 3 to 5 years. If you want to sell that property, fine. I wouldn't suggest that. Or you can rent out your side of it. Now you're bringing in, let's say, $4,000 to $4,400 a month on that property. Your note would be somewhere around $3,200. So now you have $1,200 more income. There goes another income stream for you. Now you're looking for, hey, can I buy a $600,000 house somewhere else? And now you have your own house. It's all about the steps. Some people are able for their first house to go buy a $650,000 house. Some people have to build up to that. And one of the best ways is by getting a condo or townhouse, start off smaller, or get units. Have somebody else help pay for yours.
That's good advice.
I needed to hear that, because that's kind of the avenue where I'm leading to, is going that route. I think everything feasible when you're looking to buy. Start off small and then you grow into like that next step. So I think we all try to go for the home run because we're trying to catch up to the Joneses and everybody else around us, and it's really not necessary. Especially in California, you gotta be patient. It's a process.
Yeah.
And you learn along the way, I'm assuming, when you do so, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, everything's a process. And, there's hurdles and everything, and you just have to learn how to maneuver around them.
Awesome.
So where can people find out more about Barnes and James Realty? Do you guys offer any financial literacy courses or first-time home buyer seminars?
We do. We haven't been doing it because of COVID. So we haven't gotten there to, doing stuff on Zoom and stuff. Starting probably next year, we'll start holding maybe classes, online classes and stuff, buyer seminar. But as of right now, we do free consultations, so they can contact us directly.
And like I said, we have a list of lenders that we use. They're really the money people. They will break down everything for you, and we trust them. We trust them with our clients. We trust them with our family. So we would never send you to somebody that we don't have complete faith in, because we have to work as a team. One of the things about purchasing a home, it's a lot of hands that have to touch the deal for it to go through. You have escrow, you have title, you have inspectors, you have appraisers. you have lenders, realtors, you know, you have two sides of realtors, you have buyers and sellers. So it's so many hands that have to touch it. You have to have a team behind you that knows what they're doing, and they know how to, because I'll tell you now, every deal comes up with some sort of problem. You have to have a team that knows how to get you to your goal, because it's a goal for everybody. It's a goal to see me. It's a goal for me to see you get inside your home, to have that moment where you're taking a picture, I'm handing you the keys, and you're excited. You're calling your family. We're popping a bottle of champagne. Everything. It's something about that moment that I want to see for you. So.
That's awesome. There's this one element of home ownership that really annoys me, and that's the predatory solicitors for upgrades. Oh, install windows. Oh, put a roof. Like they just come after you, and it's like, really?
Knocking on your door every day, huh? Somebody.
Right.
It's a free government program to insulate your house, and we do insulation. I mean, that's part of being there's no do not knock list. You know, unless you put up a sign. There's a do not call list. There's no do not knock. Right. And that's how a lot of them come out there and they knock on your door, and you know, you think about, and most of the people who are knocking your door, all they do is that. Because all they're really going to tell you is, I will have my manager call you if you say you're interested. Because all they do is knock on the door and say, hey, we're offering free upgrades, like you said. And if you say yes, they're going to say, oh, my manager is going to call you tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then you never see that person again, because they're knocking doors just trying to get in. I mean, it's all a hustle. To me, it's another, you know, I've always been the type that never had a problem with telemarketers calling me. Okay. Because I understand what it is. Maybe because I've been a telemarketer in the past, but I understand what that is. It's a job for them. I don't want to call in during dinner or anything like that, but I understand it, and sell me this magazine, sell me. Because if this is your job, if this is what you want, you're going to have to sell me on it. I want to hear your pitch. I'm not going to hang up on you. I want to hear your pitch. I might say, no, thank you, you did a great job, but I want to hear it because it's practice. Right. Practice.
That's good.
Or the latest game is if you are a homeowner, because of gentrification, you have all of these investors calling trying to get your property from you.
That's true.
They will send letters. I have buyers waiting. I mean, you just think about it. I don't want to put it 100% on gentrification, but you got to think about it. You have realtors that'll contact you because they want to sell your home. They want a listing. They want to, you know, they want that thing. That's their income, right? I know we've made calls. We've sent out mailers. We've done all. We've door knocked. We've done all of that because that is part of the job, really. But and then you have the investors. The investors are the one that say, hey, look, if we buy your house for $500,000, if we put $100,000 into it, now we can sell it for $750,000 or $800,000, and that's all they're looking at. They're looking at that profit for them. So it's something else, just somebody else knocking, somebody else calling, and somebody else mailing.
Jeez.
Everybody's trying to make $1.
Everybody, we have to, right?
Yeah.
How many we need 7 streams of income, so we're gonna have to figure out something.
So what's the final word that our listeners can take home with them going into, going and navigating through a pandemic? We don't know how long this is going to last. This could, surpass, we only got 3 months and 4 days left of this year. What can you tell our listeners to help them during this time if they're still looking and fascinated by or thinking about that American dream?
You want me to answer that? If people are looking right now, I honestly say be patient. Don't just jump into that home just because you're looking to move right now. Be patient in purchasing the home. Like we said, prices are up there right now. But be patient with the process. Be patient with your team. And if you're not looking right now and you're afraid because you see where the prices are, just get qualified. See where you are right now. Speak to a lender, speak to a realtor, because you should have a realtor that's out there for your best benefit. They should be guiding you through the process. They should be getting you prepared. So I would say just start the process now to see where you are. Don't let the prices right now distract you. Don't let where your income is distract you, your credit scores distract you. Just get started right now just to see where you are.
I would say start off with smaller goals.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to save $5,000. Move that up, I'm going to save $10,000. And on your path of buying a home, with that, hey, I'm going to buy a home, I need $25,000 to buy a home. That could be a big number, you know? So start with a smaller goal. Hey, I want to save $5,000 by January 31st. What do I have to do to get there? And let's move on to the next bigger goal. And also, what we see a lot of, and it really is, don't let people talk you out of things.
Right.
So don't let someone who has never purchased a home tell you, oh, buying a home right now is horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not about buying it right today. You want to set yourself up to buy it. When I say buying a house today is great, it's good because one thing you have to know, you're married to the interest rate, right? When my parents bought their last house, they paid I think $200,000 for that house, and the interest rate was 12%.
Whoa.
12%. When they bought their first house, the interest rate was 18%.
That was the going rate at the time,
Exactly.
right?
That was the rate at the time, and they had great credit and everything.
Right.
That was just the prevailing rate at the time. So what people see now is, hey, the prices are high, but you have to look at that interest rate, because if the interest rate goes up to, let's say 6.99, and my finance teacher in college told me anything less than 7%, borrow as much as you can, because it's almost like free money, right? So if that interest rate goes up to 6.99, and the prices come down, right? Guess what? Probably gonna be paying about the same amount. So why did you waste 2-3 years waiting for prices to come down if you're gonna end up paying the same amount anyway?
I had something I wanted to ask when you were mentioning, I think Tiffany was talking about it just now, when it comes to pre-qualifying. Is there a fear when people are looking to purchase a home that they think that it may affect their credit score when they're looking to pre-qualify? Is there a fear with that?
Oh, yeah.
You have it on your credit? Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are scared to run their credit because they think it's going to lower their credit. It goes down, what, 1 point?
Well, you get about 3 pulls. You get 3 pulls before it's even affected.
Yeah.
And although credit companies can be a little off kilter sometimes, most of the time they understand what you're doing.
Right.
If you're going to a mortgage company, they understand you're shopping for a rate. Right. So they don't necessarily affect you as if you went to a car place, a credit card place, and then a mortgage place, where those 3 would hit your credit. If you're looking at mortgages and shopping for a mortgage, most likely it's not going to affect your score like that.
So what you're saying is smarter to look to buy, and it is not smart to purchase a car and rather lease instead and focus on buying a car or
a car or a house?
A home.
Well, leasing are, as far as real estate is concerned, or buying a home, leasing and buying a car is the same thing. All they're going to do is look at your how much you pay a month, and that's going to go against your debt to income ratio. You know, now on tax side, there could be a difference between leasing and buying, but yeah, that's as far as real estate. Leasing and buying a car doesn't matter. They say, hey, you have a $500 a month payment. Let's subtract that from his debt to income.
Okay. How long does a pre-qualification last?
30 days, most of the time, 30 days. And then they'll ask you for an updated bank statement, updated pay stubs.
Very good.
So if I have a goal, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so what I was going to say is just, so once you get pre-approved, it's a simple process to, you know, once that qualification runs out or approval runs out, to get it reapproved. It's
simple. Okay. But say, for example, someone's listening and they can't purchase anything until next year when their lease is up. should they still get a pre-qualification now just to see where they are, or should they wait until they're closer to wanting to move?
Well, if they're looking, if their goal is their lease is up in a year and their goal is to possibly purchase in the next year, you don't want to wait until that 6 months and then you find out that you need to raise your credit scores in 6 months. At least see where you are right now. And then, you know, because pretty much you have, just run your credit, see where you are, see where your income is. And in reality, you can start with just your income first and see where that's at, and then see, okay, are we ready to pull your credit to see if that's good enough? Because if you kind of go through like Credit Karma and stuff like that, that'll give us kind of a little insight to at least where you are. So, and then if everything looks good to possibly go, I would say wait until about maybe 6 months beforehand when you're ready, before your lease expires, and then start going out and start looking.
So, okay. Were you going to say something else, Shar? Go ahead, because I got another question. It's kind of deep.
Okay. Well, my shallow question is, are there any first-time home buyer programs that you all recommend?
I mean, there's several, but I mean, there's there's a lot of them. But what I would say is you can read up of them, or you can talk to a lender. Like that is that's their wheelhouse. They know the programs. They'll look over your information and be like, oh, you'll be perfect for this one. So that's really what go to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So say I come to James and Barnes and James for support, and I have a low credit score. Is there a such thing as fixing my credit?
I wouldn't say fixing it, because some people think fixing it is, okay, we're going to go ahead and get everything deleted. Doesn't work like that. So basically, it's no quick fix. Like I was saying, there's no quick fix. A lot of people think, okay, can I get my credit fixed? And it doesn't work that way. The way we do it is we analyze your credit report. The whole team, we have our lending team and everybody who will analyze it. And what we do together is we go over basically a checklist and what needs to be done and how to raise your credit scores. So we'll work as a team, and what you kind of let us know, okay, how long will it take for you to get this taken care of? How long will it take for you to get this taken care of? So we have a list, so we all work together so that gets taken care of in your desired time frame. So that's the way we do it. There's no quick fix. There's no, we're going to delete this off of your credit report. Nothing like that. We work together to do it, the right way.
I'm happy you broke that down, because I feel like a lot of community certain communities are affected and misled.
Right.
And
yes.
There was a lot of that took place between the early 2000s leading up to 2008, where a lot of homeowners were affected due to misleading them into purchasing property. And the effect of it, people have not recovered still. And I'm glad that you have broke that down, because I think that also plays into the fear of the current generation, those that are between the ages of 25 and 40 that are probably like, I'm good. I'd rather just lay low and enjoy life and be good.
That's the truth. A lot of people are like that, but because they're thinking about right now, and they're thinking about, let's say, the easy way out. It's one thing if you have $1,500 a month rent and you're able to afford it every month and you're comfortable with it, but you're not building anything.
Right.
So that's where that mindset comes in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like my cousin RB, he's a really talented individual, but he broke something down to me a long time ago, and that was this community called the renters class. And the renters class basically will last for 20 years in a 20 years span of time. So as long as owners can tap into the renters class, they basically could pay their properties off.
Yep. That's the truth.
Yep.
And then you're going to find somebody else in that renters class, and it's going to be all profit in your pocket.
Right.
Well, we definitely, Very good. This couldn't have happened at a better time, to be honest with you, because I think this is the time to really, really hone in on areas that can help you out in your future and also for generations to come. So we definitely thank you guys for taking time to speak with us and our listeners out there. We hope that this episode definitely does bring light to homeownership and to not be feared into looking to start the process and see where it goes. And it is a process, and to be patient with it. But we thank you guys once again. And is there any type of social media or anything that our listeners, shout out anything you guys have so that they can stay in tune?
Well, we have a couple of social media pages. We have on Facebook, Barnes and James Realty Group on Facebook. And then on Instagram, we have 2 separate pages. So we have Tiffany Barnes Sales CA, and then
Less is more realtor.
All right, y'all. You guys heard it. That's a good plug. You guys make sure you follow.
Thank you. Guys, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm personally going to be reaching out to you both to talk about starting the process because it's time.
Perfect. That's a great thing.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Convo Lounge. And just before we let you guys go, we just want to say you can follow us at the Convo Lounge. And you can follow me at the Prosperous One, the Prosperous _1. And then for Shar and for Antonio,
you can follow me at Shar.Rochelle or Shar's Cookie Jar.
You can find me at Antonio Crow Clothing and the Convo Lounge.
And also don't forget to follow us at the Life Tag app. Shout out to Life Tagger. And we thank you guys once again for tuning into this episode of the Convo Lounge. Peace.
Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you.